fellow countrymen of Ghana, once again, I speak to you from the voice of the African Revolution, Radio Guinea, Conakry. It is not insignificant that the voice of the African Revolution should be the medium through which I speak to you. The instigated rebellion by certain army and police officers in Ghana was directed not only against Ghana, but also against the African Revolution and the unity and independence of our continent. They hoped, through such irresponsible actions, to strangle Ghana and undermine the African Revolution. For years, I have been talking and speaking, writing and teaching all about imperialism, colonialism, and neocolonialism in order to create an awareness of their workings and machinations. Only a sell-out willing tool, a quisling and a lackey, a stooge and a traitor could fall victim to the wiles of imperialism, colonialism, and neocolonialism. The pity is that there are still Ghanaians and Africans who are prepared to sell themselves to aid and abet these systems. These agents and stooges choose to attack the African Revolution by attacking me. They know that the name of Ghana is one of the symbols of African achievements. It was so in medieval Africa, and it is so today. The reawakened African giant is the master organ for African progress, national consciousness, and African unity. It is the symbol of the courageous struggle of the African people for national independence and continental unity. From pre-independent days to the day we fought and won our independence from colonial rule, the symbolic date being 6 March 1957, Ghana has thrown herself freely and boldly into the struggle for African emancipation. We have proclaimed our firm stand against imperialism, colonialism, and neocolonialism. We have unflinchingly stated that the independence of Ghana was meaningless unless it was linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. We made it clear to our brother African states, which followed us in the wake of African freedom and independence, that unless Africa was politically united, our continent would never be really free from foreign interferences and domination. We also warned that imperialism and neocolonialism would turn some of us into stooges and traitors in order to undermine and subvert not only the African Revolution, but the very existence of independent African states. This has become our cardinal foreign policy, and this is what we have been shouting from rooftops all over the African continent. The African freedom fighters joined us in the struggle, and we welcomed them as worthy sons and daughters of Africa who shared our hopes for a united revolutionary Africa. Thanks to the efforts of the African freedom fighters and revolutionaries, today there are no fewer than 36 independent African states united under the banner of the Organization of African Unity. The Organization of African Unity presents a common front in the struggle to free and unite Africa and claim for her the international recognition, dignity, and respect which is Africa's due. Ghana and the Convention People's Party have never been forgiven by their enemies for their firm stand and the part they play in the African revolutionary struggle for emancipation and unity. Since independence, they have tried various stratagems to overthrow Ghana and make her subservient to their whims and caprices. Our firm policy of positive neutralism and non-alignment thwarts their plans and balks their policy of undermining us. In public education, public health, and social developments, Ghana today is an example of success. Thanks to the workers, farmers, and peasants of Ghana, the standard of living in Ghana today is one of the highest in Africa. What we have achieved belongs to the people and not to a clique of self-seeking people or class. The people themselves know this. This unwarranted rebellion threatens to destroy all that the Ghanaian people hold dear to heart. This senseless rebellion threatens the achievement we have sweated for the past 15 restless years. By this rebellion, they have tried to set back what we have achieved. They have attacked Ghana and the African Revolution, but they cannot succeed. We will not allow them to succeed. These stooges and sycophants of neocolonialism may temporarily set back Ghana's progress, impede the African political movement for a time. They may destroy some of our work of patience, diligence, and sacrifice. But we will rebuild what they destroy. Our socialist gains and achievements can never be destroyed. It is only unfortunate that for Ghana, the various projects and factories which were started by my government have all been abandoned by this so-called National Liberation Council. The 7-year development plan has also been abandoned by this treacherous clique, whose members are too ignorant to realize that a planted seed takes time to germinate before sprouting into the glorious foliage that is visible to all. All the projects which would have benefited us in the future have been abandoned. Where does Ghana stand now? It means we stand on the verge of confusion and chaos. It's also sad that for Africa, the movement to liberate our oppressed brothers of Zimbabwe will be temporarily weakened and our drive for African continental political unity slowed down. Countrymen, the actions of this clique of army and police renegades has put us one step backward, but we shall take 2 steps forward. Stand firm and have confidence in the Convention People's Party, and victory will be ours. We have beaten them before, and we shall beat them again. Fellow countrymen, say nothing if this or that country recognizes this rebellious clique. The recognition or non-recognition of this traitorous clique is irrelevant to the situation. The struggle is a revolutionary struggle. Remember that the struggle of Ghana and Africa has only reached a new phase, a stage of rebirth, out of which shall emerge a greater consciousness of the African personality and dignity. We must evolve new forms of revolutionary struggle to meet the new African situations. Countrymen, as I speak to you now, several ships that should have unloaded their cargoes of material and machinery meant for Ghana's industries and factories at Tema Harbor have all returned to their home bases because of the actions of these traitorous rebels. They were not allowed to unload these cargoes at Tema. I shall be with you sooner than our detractors expect, and we shall again take up the reins of our industrial development. I have been told of the diabolical acts of brutality, assassination, and barbarism which these murderous army and police rebels have been perpetrating against the people of Ghana. The number of defenseless men and women who have been beaten up, murdered, and maimed is simply heartbreaking. Misled soldiers and police broke into people's homes, heartlessly machine-gunned their occupants, only to come out not only with dead bodies, but carrying refrigerators, wireless sets, boxes and portmanteaus, and other personal belongings of their victims. Mothers are murdered in their own homes. With appalling barbarism, their children are snatched from their lifeless embrace and flung from 3rd and 2nd floor windows to crash dead on concrete pavements below. Countrymen, these are sad facts. These sad facts speak of hideous acts which one never thought could be perpetrated by any persons who call themselves Ghanaians. This lunatic fringe of the army and police, a relic of our colonial heritage, should not escape the blame and responsibility for these crimes. They will not go unpunished. Since the February 24th incident, crimes ranging from looting, maltreatment, torture, and massacre of defenseless citizens have become the order of the day in Accra and other regions of Ghana. This clique of rebels have suppressed all fundamental liberties which was ours under our constitution. They have forbidden the holding of meetings and rallies. People are not allowed to use their own wireless sets. Cabinet members, leading civil servants and public servants, responsible men in the Ghanaian society, able heads and directors of state corporations and state enterprises have all been thrown ignominiously into prison. The masses are tortured and humiliated. African freedom fighters in training at Accra and African political refugees have been shamelessly molested and heartlessly carted away at gunpoint to some bizarre fate at the hands of those from whom they sought to escape. These are sad facts facing Ghana now, and their perpetrators brazenly call themselves a National Liberation Council. What do these hirelings and murderers know about national liberation? Where were they when we were fighting to liberate the then Gold Coast from the clutches of the imperialist and colonialist exploiters? Countrymen, these villains were in the country at the time, but wherever and whenever they appeared, they traitorously backed the colonial oppressor with whom they have always had a common interest. Today, they clumsily lie that they are national liberators, and by force of arms, they stood to abolish the constitution established according to the will of the majority of the Ghanaian people. By force of arms, they seek to abolish the people's elected parliament. By force of arms, they seek to dissolve the people's chosen party, the Convention People's Party. Indeed, by force of arms, they seek to abolish or dissolve all forms of democracy in Ghana. What are their intentions? What are they after? They seek no more than their own selfish interests. Interests which are based on the systematic forceful suppression of the Ghanaian masses. Such is the evil content of this murderous rebellion. They have surrounded you not only with guns and bayonets, but also with lies and calumny in an attempt to throw dust into your eyes and blind you to the true evil content of their treachery. But I know they cannot deceive you with the lies they have fabricated against me and my government, such as the nonsensical talk about the breaking down of Ghana's economy and the nonsense about Kwame Nkrumah's property. It is common knowledge, and the army and the police, rebels, know this, that Kwame Nkrumah has no personal property, and that all that he has belongs to the party and the state. This clique of army and police traitors have brazenly challenged the constitutional authority of the state and are attempting to destroy our socialist gains and achievements. There are no grounds whatsoever for this murderous rebellion. And now that they know they have misfired, they seek to fabricate lies to justify their treachery and employ torture and intimidation to force and coerce loyal citizens into submission. They make false statements and publish false news about innocent and loyal citizens whom they hold at the points of guns and bayonets. Ministers and important members of the community have been illegally thrown into prison, and they have even established committees of inquiry to aid them in their fabrications. However, no account of lies and calumny can justify their groundless and murderous actions or absolve them from the punishments which they deserve. Workers, farmers and peasants of Ghana, militant men and women of the Convention People's Party, Ghana youth in the cities, towns and villages, this is your time to march into double action. We must crush this clique of army and police gangsters who have thrown such dangerous spanners not only into the spokes of the wheels of Ghana's progress and development, but also into those of the African Revolution. More than ever before, the struggle for African emancipation must be intensified. We must overthrow these adventurous and self-seekers with all the means at our command. I shall be with you very soon, and we shall together carry on the revolutionary struggle to its successful conclusion with new spirit and reborn energy. Do not despair. We are not alone in this revolutionary struggle against the enemies of progress and freedom. Hundreds of letters, telegrams, and cablegrams condemning the rebellion reach me daily from nationalists and freedom fighters all over Africa and from progressive forces and movements all over the world. I know how you are suffering humiliation and torture in silence now, but I know that all of you, men and women and youth, are inwardly resisting, and at the clarion call, which will soon be sounded, you will rise up to fight and conquer this notorious clique of army and police traitors. I know your courage and determination, and I have no doubt that you will join hands in this new struggle to throw out of Ghana these shameless traitors of the nation. Countrymen, as I have been telling you, do not be deterred or frightened by the rifles and Tommy guns which these traitors intimidate you with. They know they are powerless before your united strength. If we could fight and defeat colonialism, how much less is the task of defeating a clique of army and police racketeers who have not got the full support of the whole army and police. This clique is only a section of the army and police who are using Tommy guns and rifles to intimidate and coerce and suppress you. Even among the murderous traitors themselves, there is division. Already, the conflict between the army rebels and the police traitors is obvious and deepens more and more as they attempt to share the booty and bribery they have gathered from their treachery. But for disastrous consequence to our economy, we would patiently wait for these ignorant rebels to be consumed in the heat of their own follies. If we choose to allow them to exist for some time, they will soon crack up by their own inability, stupidity, and mismanagement. But love of country demands that we crush them quickly before they play too much havoc with our dear Ghana and create confusion within the African Revolution. And so, countrymen, let all true Ghanaians remain firm and resistant. Let all loyal members of the army and police remain firm wherever they may be. I congratulate the Presidential Guard Regiment for their bold stand at Flagstaff House. Let them also stand firm. We will remember those who are dead. I know your patriotism, and I know that you will continue to fight for and safeguard the dignity, freedom, and honor which we owe to Ghana, Africa, and the world. Forward ever, backward never. There is victory for us. Long live the Convention People's Party. Long live the Organization of African Unity. Long live the African Revolutionary Struggle.